Alright guys, Slugfest Wizard. This is my review, my critique on a UFC 126 Silva versus Belfort. It's been a while, this is kind of late getting out there, but I wanted to put out my thoughts out there. Wow. The UFC did a really good job, and the media, for example, that too, as in hyping up and building up Vitor the Phenom Belfort for this fight, saying that he was the biggest challenge for Anderson Silva as far as the stand-up fighter goes, and that he was close to being Silva's equal. And more people picked Vitor Belfort than I would have imagined leading up to the fight, and for Anderson Silva to go in there and take the fellow Brazilian out with just one front kick to the jaw and 2 punches, 3 strikes total, just it was stunning to watch, and it was a real treat that night. Great performance by Silva. I'm starting to wonder now, will he really ever be beaten? But again, I feel bad saying that because, you know, you can't ever say that anyone's unbeatable, but man, he's just that good. He didn't need to adjust his position. He knew exactly when to throw that front kick, which, by the way, he said he credits Steven Seagal for teaching him that kick, the front kick, which is probably, I saw an ad on Yahoo Sports saying that that's not entirely true, that they kind of just did that for us Westerners, and to bring Steven Seagal into this so we can relate to it for whatever that's worth. But nevertheless, that was an amazing performance by Silva. That knockout will probably be shown numerous times on Spike. And what's next for Silva? It would be kind of interesting to see him fight Yushin Okami, but I don't know if that's possible. Maybe have Vitor Belfort fight Yushin Okami, or have Belfort fight Chael Sonnen. Sonnen himself actually did, well, once Sonnen comes back, if he ever does come back, after money laundering and effing up his job. So, what else? For Anderson Silva, idealistically, Dana White is already saying, you know, maybe late this year or sometime next year, he's going to wait for George St. Pierre and Jake Shields, and the winner of that fight gets Anderson Silva and gets the right to be called the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. Is that really a good idea to put on an Anderson Silva versus George St. Pierre fight, assuming that George St. Pierre defeats Jake Shields, which I think he will? Because Matt Serra always had a puncher's chance. Jake Shields has not shown me that he has a puncher's chance yet. But we'll get to that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. It's just, I see that being a rough night for St. Pierre to fight Anderson Silva in his weight division. So maybe it could be a catchweight where no title's involved at all. It's just a super fight in which you've got the best guy in the world against the best guy in the world at those weight classes. So I'll talk about that later. Fight before that one, Forrest Griffin versus Rich Franklin. Dang, you know, Griffin looked good. He did what I didn't think he could be able to do. I was surprised that Rich Franklin was, you know, just off of his back in the first round, not doing a whole lot. He was just content to maintain guard, and I was yelling at Franklin, go for submission attempts. He never tried a triangle or an armbar attempt or anything like that. And he looked like that he was the one that had to deal with ring rust rather than Griffin. But this is a good win for Griffin. Neither Griffin nor Franklin looked outstanding or something. Griffin did tag Franklin several times with 1-2 combinations on the feet in the second and third round. Which the third round, I'll have to watch it again. Franklin might have stolen it, but it was a fun fight. It didn't end up winning fight of the night. That went to Donald Cerrone versus Paul Kelly. And Jon Jones, man. Great performance, man. Great job by Jon Jones. Every time he comes out, he just is able to do really impressive things, really different things, and what's great about Jon Jones, and again, I'm not saying that he's unbeatable or that he's gonna, be unhittable like Machida was for a while. No, I'm not saying that, but as I said, right now Jon Jones is kind of a puzzle of his own. He's put the word mixed back in mixed martial arts, which seems like it had been missing for a while for some fighters. But Jon Jones was just able to go out there and control the all Division I All-American wrestler Ryan Bader with disturbing ease on the mat. Bader looked completely flustered by the stand-up of Jon Jones. I was waiting for that ironic moment to happen in this fight where Bader would throw one of his big looping Hail Mary punches, and they would tag Jones, and for Jones to just go out, but that didn't happen. Bader did land 2 or 3 good punches, but he never rocked or seriously hurt Jon Jones, from what I could tell. And Jones just finished him off with a guillotine choke, and he didn't even need to really work that hard for it. He just tried the Darce choke, and then adjusted it, and then tap. Man. Because even Vanderlei Silva, when you'll see him try submission attempts today, he has to really struggle, and Jon Jones' long reach, the longest in the UFC, that's one more weapon he can use. Maybe it makes chokes easier. So, next for Jon Jones is Mauricio Shogun Hua. Okay. I'm going to have more to say about that later, but right now I'm just going to say this. Jon Jones could be a champion one day. He probably will, but I don't see it happening next month. In that fight against Shogun Hua versus Jon Jones, I don't see Shogun being confused or flustered by most of Jon Jones's weird, kind of cool. It's like the unorthodox, strange techniques that he likes to do, whether they're submitting someone from the north-south position or jumping over someone like he did to Ryan Bader. I see Shogun walking through that and not being fazed by that. So, don't get me wrong, I'd hope that I would kind of be rooting for Jon Jones in the Shogun versus Jones fight, but I honestly can't pick him to win that one. I'd have to go with Shogun by TKO before, or a submission due to a leg lock before round 4. And yeah, this is a good opportunity for Jon Jones and for him to get but his skills are good when it comes to beating guys like Ryan Bader, Brandon Vera, Vladimir Metyushenko, but Jon Jones has still not faced Quentin Rampage Jackson. He still has not. He hasn't even faced Randy Couture, Rashad Evans. He's not going to fight Rashad Evans anyways, or Lyoto Machida. So he hasn't fought the competition that Shogun has fought yet. So I would have no choice but to pick Shogun going into that fight. Next fight, Jake Ellenberger versus Carlos Eduardo Rocha. Rocha, due to his transitions, his crisp jiu-jitsu game against Jake Ellenberger kind of won him a lot of fans that night, even though he did lose due to Jake Ellenberger's safety-first style of taking him down in the closing seconds of every round, But decent win for Ellenberger, but more people were kind of impressed with Carlos Eduardo. If he develops some substantial strikes on the feet, which he didn't look terrible, but if he does, he could be a force in the welterweight division. So, and Miguel Torres versus Antonio Banuelos. I got that one right too. I picked Jake Ellenberger also. So the only one I got wrong on the main card was the Griffin Franklin fight. Miguel Torres, people are criticizing his performance. I found it I expected more to happen in it, but to Torres in this fight, I think getting the win was more important than being exciting. So it was smart for him to use his really long reach, and throw jabs, but I think he went in there and he went to a decision against a guy that he should have been able to finish in Antonio Banuelos, but Banuelos mostly has a brawler's chance in the fight, and he didn't decide to put on a show until the 3rd round. So